The one that I'll mention that came up in more reports than any other was effective institutions. And you might say, sure, and nothing new. Right? We need effective institutions. But what we found here is countries were signaling a couple of things. I need effective institutions so that I can see better outcomes in health and education, not institutions for the sake of it. And what the SDGs allow us to do with the level of targets and indicators, data that we have behind is to be able to track. Do my investments in institutions lead to better outcomes in terms of education, health, access, and secondary primary school completion rate? We can watch that directly. The second thing countries said is I need that for fair economic growth. So how can I ensure that institutions put the guardrails in place and foundations so that as we grow, more people benefit from that growth? Again, we are then able to look at a detail level of the data. And I think this is an audience that would really probably double down the notion that we need more data because we need more faces. We need to understand more people's experiences.
Particularly our economic classification system data, and as well as our ability to drill down a company's business involvement down to its product line levels. So where normally most SDG data providers really rely on company self-reported alignment towards the SDGs, we've leveraged our patented business involvement data to really identify and assign a revenue-based impact towards the SDGs based on companies' product lines. And we did so by consulting the Sustainable Development Investment Asset Owner Platform, which is a tool that basically outlines positively aligned business activities that companies can partake in, which we then mapped into our system as well. So let's take an example. There's a company called Xylem in our database. It's a water and wastewater company. And as you can assume, of course, it has alignment towards SDG 6, 7, 9, and 11. But then when you look at the product line levels, you really can see that not all of the activities are aligned to all of them, and you really want to identify which are applicable to which. So for example, when it comes to the pumps for water transport product line, that's aligned with SDG 6.1 and 6.2. And then when you look at their pump or their meters for electricity, that's actually aligned with SDG 7 and 9. So we really have the ability to identify as a whole what a company is involved in, and then at the indicator level, matching that to the SDGs. And then of course, as you can imagine, not all companies are positively contributing to the SDGs. Some fall in the neutral bucket, some fall in the misaligned bucket, and some fall in both.
As investors, we have to figure out real ways of making money. And to do that, you need new data. I mean, the whole ESG controversy the last couple of years. I mean, one of the examples that we always talk about in my class is you can look at all the S&P 500 funds, mutual funds, big asset manager names. I won't mention them in market these. S&P 500 mutual funds, ETFs or mutual funds. You can take 10 of them, and then you can take the couple that have an ESG label on them. And then you look at the top 10 holdings of all those funds. You won't be able to tell which one's an ESG fund and which one's a regular fund. There'll be no difference in performance, no difference in underlying metrics, nothing. And the way those portfolio construction is made is looking at very high-level, superficial data. They've never heard of companies that do multiple things, and some parts might be partially aligned and other parts. So you need to do that, and that needs to be made mainstream. What you guys have done over the last 7 years or so, it's work that had to be done. Though because of QE and other factors, people didn't realize they needed it. But they're realizing it now.